Today on Record Breakers, we check out the world's first seeing eye horse.
Then it's time to chill out and enjoy a drink in Asia's first all-ice bar.
These scary scorpions put the sting into a new world record in Malaysia.
And this youngster juggles his way into the hearts of Korean football fans.
Because on Record Breakers, we know there are dream chasers.
We know there are serious risk takers.
And we know there are always record breakers.
If people are attempting it, record breakers are filming it. Get ready as we explore the outer limits of human achievement on Record Breakers.
"11-year-old Yu Tai Pong is one determined youngster with a mission. He manoeuvred his way into the record books by completing an exhausting 100-day football juggling marathon ahead of the 2002 World Cup. We'll find out why shortly.
Meanwhile, it's said that diamonds are a girl's best friend, and so is chocolate. So one South Korean man has ingeniously combined the two, coming up with what could be the world's most expensive chocolate for music lovers. Jeong Hong Hyun, a pastry chef who works for Regal Royal Hotel in Tokyo, Japan, spent over 5 hours placing more than 100 diamonds delicately into his chocolate masterpiece. The soft brown chocolate sculpture is in the form of a music score. More precisely, it depicts Mozart's Turkish March, one of his most popular pieces in Japan. But why Mozart in particular? Well, Jeong wanted to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the composer's birth. He used melting chocolate to attach the precious stones and chose diamonds because they contrasted with the transient nature of his unusual creations. The diamonds are worth an incredible $5 million and they include a 7-carat sparkler valued at over $150,000. That would have to make anyone eat this chocolate carefully.
And if you've got some money to spare, why not buy the world's most expensive bottle of wine to go with your chocolate? This 1787 vintage Sauterne from Chateau de Wauquem is almost a steal compared to the Mozart masterpiece, but it did set one wine connoisseur back the record price of 55,000 English pounds. That's around $18,000 a glass. The valuable bottle was acquired by the Antique Wine Company from a private collector in France and was bottled in Bordeaux at the time of the French Revolution.
This cheerful group of record breakers got together recently in Colombia, and they were delighted to hear they'd set the world record for the longest caravan of the same make of vehicle. They brought together a total of 354 antique Willys Jeeps and paraded them through the coffee-growing city of Armenia. The Willys Jeeps first came to prominence during World War II and are still the most commonly used vehicles in the area, some 300 kilometres east of Bogota. They are intrinsically linked with the region's identity, having long been used for transporting coffee. Locals were so pleased with their new record that they resolved to keep it as long as they are able, and will even get more Willys Jeep fans together again if anyone manages to beat it in the future. Now that's what I call dedicated record breaking.
Speaking of dedicated, there would have to be none more so in the sporting world than Russia's Yelena Isinbayeva. The Olympic and world pole vault champion just can't help herself. She's one athlete who keeps leaping to greater and greater heights. So much so that in the opening competition of the 2006 athletic season, she let fly to collect her 19th world record. Yelena raised her own indoor mark by a centimetre to 4.91 metres. However, Yelena herself would probably tell you that her greatest achievement so far is being the first woman to break the 5-meter barrier, set outdoors in 2005. But Yelena still has one more goal: to overhaul Sergei Bubka's world record tally of 35.
And now, back to more chocolate. In what has to be a world first, this chocolate-coated creation roved the streets of Seoul in South Korea recently, letting couples indulge in chocolates ahead of Valentine's Day. Yes, it is an ordinary bus, but one with a delightful difference. Excluding the seats and floor, all of the walls, steering wheel, bus straps and bells have been covered in mouth-watering chocolate. The bus took 10 couples around town to experience the different chocolates on offer. Kim Mi-sun and Kim Ju-sun were two who thought the 20-minute ride surrounded by chocolate would be a chance to refresh sweet sentiments of love. How right they were. After exchanging chocolate rings and renewing their feelings for each other, the pair had their photo taken to remind them of the experience, and they were even given a chocolate photo frame to put it in afterward. The whole idea behind the chocolate bus, aside from the Valentine's Day advertising opportunity, was to let people know what it would be like to be surrounded by chocolate instead of just eating it. Which brings me to a very wise move made by the organisers. They gave every passenger bags of free chocolates. Why? To prevent them from nibbling on bus parts, of course.
British actor Jim Dale holds the record for most character voices in an audiobook, an amazing 134.
Back to the football, and Yu juggled his way around South Korea for an exhausting 109 days on an epic 2,020-kilometre journey that saw him arrive in Seoul in time for the World Cup. Keep watching for more later in the show.
But first it's time to meet Cuddles, a pint-sized miniature horse that's literally this man's guiding light. Yes, Cuddles is the world's first seeing eye horse, and she shares a unique relationship with her visually impaired owner, Dan Shaw. Shaw learned as a teenager that he had retinitis pigmentosa and would eventually become blind. It was a hard future to contemplate, but Cuddles has managed to make all the difference. According to Shaw, the 62-centimetre tall horse is more than his eyes and ears. Since the two were introduced, Cuddles has become Shaw's best friend. Their first assignment together was at a pet store in North Carolina, not far from where Cuddles was trained, and it was a resounding success. It was the first time Shaw had walked through a shop without bumping into anything in a long time. Most days, Cuddles helps Shaw with life's more mundane things, like daily walks to the mailbox, although they have seen the sights of New York together. The pair also hangs out in Shaw's living room to watch TV or just relax. And since Cuddles is house-trained, she never wears out her welcome. Despite their compatibility, at the end of the day, a horse is still a horse, of course. So it's back to the barn for Cuddles to play with her roommate, Nevada. Shaw says he and Cuddles plan to spend the next 40 years together.
Now, from the heartwarming to something that could leave you very cold. It's Asia's first all-ice bar, and it opened for business in Tokyo, Japan. The Absolute Ice Bar experience begins at the entrance, as guests are provided with insulated capes and gloves so that the ice doesn't melt due to the body heat. Oh, and by the way, the outfits also help patrons withstand the -5 degrees Celsius temperatures. Brrr. Approximately 50 centimetres of ice covers nearly every surface of the establishment, and it's got crystal clear qualities. The ice is imported from the pure waters of the Torn River in Sweden's Lapland. The experience, however, does not come cheap. A door price of $30 buys you one drink in a specially carved ice glass, and every extra drink will set you back another $10. You certainly can't keep your money on ice here. In any case, patrons do not recommend staying at the ice bar too long in one stint. Even the drinks aren't enough to keep the customers warm.
What is it about St. Valentine's Day that sets people to thinking about breaking records? Well, this International Day of Love was the reason for KLO in Peru to try, and they celebrated in style, with 218 couples taking up the offer of a free civil marriage. Mayor Alex Khoury performed the huge ceremony in the town square, bringing together people from all walks of life and all sorts of circumstances. This couple had been boyfriend and girlfriend since the age of 15, but it wasn't their first trip down the aisle. They married in 1999, only to divorce 5 years later. However, they soon realised they still loved each other, so, accompanied by their 6-year-old daughter, they decided to try again. It was a great day, but there's one thing that all 218 husbands probably didn't think about. There'll now be no excuse to forget their wedding anniversaries.
Now, where there are weddings, there are always photographers. And you may not know it, but professional shutterbugs have a world record to aim for themselves. But they've all got a high mark to reach, because this rare 1904 photograph by Edward Steichen now holds the record for the most expensive photo to sell at auction. Shattering the old world record, the Pond Moonlight was sold at Sotheby's auction house in New York for an incredible $2.9 million. That's around 3 times what it was expected to sell for. The Pond Moonlight is a multiple process photograph and one of only 3 known prints of the image. It's a definite record breaker.
Meanwhile, this could be the future of holographic television. In a world first, a Japanese research institute has unveiled the first real 3D images, which consist of dot arrays in space where there is nothing but air. The National Institute of Advanced Industrial Science and Technology is the brains behind this new technology. And although 3D displays might have existed in the past, the researchers say this is the first truly 3D experience. They believe that most 3D displays so far have been made up of pseudo 3D images on 2D planes. But the way humans see these displays with binocular vision means any long-term use will give you quite a headache. So the experts decided to take a better look, and what they came up with was not only far more comfortable on our eyes, but it could have huge ramifications for the future. One of the uses considered for 3D is an emergency signal. It could be spotted by a rescue helicopter or ship from quite a distance and would help locate devastated areas far more quickly. But it also means we can now put TV commercials in the air. Oh well, you can't win them all.
And in more sports record breakers, US sprinter Wallace Spearman set a new world record for the rarely run 300 metres. The World Championship 200 metres silver medalist clocked 31.88 seconds at the Tyson Invitational indoor meeting in Fayetteville in the US, banking $25,000 for his efforts. Spearman led a trio of Americans under the previous mark of 32.19 seconds, set by Brazilian Robson da Silva in 1989, and this is how he did it. No doubt, world indoor 400 metres record holder Karen Clement was cursing his luck. He had also broken the record, crossing the line just behind in a time of 31.932 seconds.
Yes, it's definitely a bizarre structure. Located in Russia's far north, this ramshackle 12-storey house cuts through the Archangelsk skyline, a rickety structure nestled between the chimneys of the local industrial plants and the tiny dwellings below it. At over 38 metres high, the building is wending its way into the official Russian Book of Records. It's the highest inhabited wooden building currently in the country. Local builder and entrepreneur Nikolai Sutyagin is responsible. He found that he was able to see part of the White Sea when he extended his house upward, so he decided to continue and found that he just couldn't stop. His vision is of an internationally acclaimed venue, drawing visitors from all over the globe to marvel at its architecture. It's a long way off though, but it's a dream he's determined to fulfill.
Now, if you don't like creepy crawlies, then you'd better turn away from this one. A Malaysian woman has stung the record books by spending a month in a glass box with nearly 3,000 scorpions. That's not my idea of fun. Normalina Hassan was cheered on by a huge crowd in Kota Baru for persevering to stay in the 12 square metre enclosure despite being stung 7 times. She began her stint on the first Sunday of the month at 10 o'clock in the morning. To enter into the Malaysian Book of Records and the Guinness Book of World Records, she had to eat, drink and sleep with the poisonous creatures for 30 days. Malaysians regularly undertake feats, both exotic and mundane, to get their names in the country's record book, and this one certainly slotted into the exotic category. Normalina actually lived with 2,000 of the arachnids for 19 days, then added 700 more to increase the challenge. What a record breaker!
Okay, you can look back now. Here's a record breaker that was just for fun. 5,000 people simultaneously sat on so-called whoopee cushions during a hockey game in Illinois in the US and claimed they broke a world record for the most people to perform the noisy event at once. The cushions, which emit a loud pitch when sat upon, were handed out to fans at a minor league hockey game in Moline, Illinois. During the second period, the fans were asked to sit on the circular devices at the same time, and the effect was a resounding boom around the stadium. The event broke the old world record that was set in Brighton, England on October 10, 2003. That's when 1,372 people took part in their simultaneous sitting. This is what this record sounds like. The game was promoted by the host team Mallards as the Flint Stinks Night.
US star Blythe Danner is the first actress to be nominated for a total of 3 Emmy Awards in the same year.
Back to South Korea, and drivers rolled down windows to cheer Yu on as he juggled his way through Seoul in the lead-up to the World Cup. Worn out but happy, Yu had almost reached his goal. Keep watching for more.
But first, here's some Hollywood record breakers you may not be aware of. Joanne Rowling is an English fiction writer who is known better as J.K. Rowling. She's most famous as the author of the Harry Potter fantasy series, which has won multiple awards and sold a reported 300 million copies worldwide as of 2005. But here's the record. In February 2004, Forbes magazine estimated her fortune at just over $1 billion, making her the first person to become a billionaire by writing books.
Only a few minutes late. Sorry, Professor.
Meanwhile, Hollywood director Sofia Coppola is only the third woman in history to be nominated for a Best Director Academy Award. In 2004, she became the first American woman ever nominated for Best Director Oscar. The 2 other past Oscar nominees were Jane Campion, who's a New Zealander, and Lena Wertmuller, who is Italian. And with her 2004 Oscar win, she joined her family in becoming the second to have Oscar winners in 3 generations. The first family are the Houstons.
And the prize no one really wants? The Razzie Award record for being nominated for the most titles in one year. That goes to Ben Stiller. He was nominated in 2004 for Worst Actor in 5 of the 6 films in which he appeared. The only film he escaped the dubious honour was for the cinema standout Meet the Fockers. The Razzies are considered the anti-Oscars and celebrate, if that's the correct term to use, the worst of film offerings each year.
Here's another record you wouldn't want to have in your resume. The film Gigli became the first motion picture in the history of the Razzie Awards to sweep all the top categories. This included Worst Picture, Worst Director, Martin Brest, Worst Actor, Ben Affleck, Worst Actress, Jennifer Lopez, Worst Screen Couple, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez, and Worst Screenplay, written by Martin Brest.
Yeah, I got it. Bull gal.
And if that wasn't bad enough, the film also broke the record for the largest decline in box office, with an 81.9% second weekend drop. Here's a clue why.
Soothes me down. It soothes you down?
Oh, come on, Larry. Read to him.
What am I gonna read? I got nothing here.
You don't have a book.
I got a phone book.
Oh, there you go.
Read to me, Larry. All right, fine.
And finally, Bollywood actress Aishwarya Rai has a number of record breakers to her credit. Number 1 on the list is that she's the first Indian actress to be on the jury of the Cannes International Film Festival. Rai is also the highest paid actress in Bollywood, and in 2004 she became the first Bollywood and Indian actress to have her own statue at London's Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. Then in 2005, she became the first Indian actress to be interviewed on 60 Minutes and The Oprah Winfrey Show. That's a lot of records.
"11-year-old Yu Taipong reached a major personal goal when he arrived at Seoul's main stadium ahead of the 2002 World Cup. He had started the mammoth juggling feat at the suggestion of his father, who helped him look for a way he could help promote his national team's chances in the Cup. As it turned out, Brazil ended up Cup victors, but this youngster was clearly a winner too. He had beaten the previous record, held by 39-year-old Kim Kwang-jae, by just 12 kilometres, enough for the priceless record. See you next time on Record Breakers.